Good evening and welcome to SVG-TV News for Friday, November 19th, 2021. I'm Rochelle Batiste with the details. Frontline workers who are expected to take at least one dose of the available COVID-19 vaccines by today, Friday, November 19, 2021, have been given 2 more days to do so before the government's vaccination policy comes into effect. Under the Statutory Rules and Order Number 28 or the Public Health Rules of 2021, workers in 13 categories identified as frontline workers are expected to present proof of vaccination to their supervisors, and failure to do so, they will be deemed as absent from duty without leave. However, on the radio today, Health Promotions Officer in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment, Shanika John, said the statutory rules and order will now come into effect on Monday, November 22nd, 2021.
Rules will come into effect from Monday, allowing employees to get vaccinated on the weekend. It's not a lot. It's a couple days for those persons to get into some of the vaccination sites and caravan, if you have considered that this is the choice that you would like to make. So there's an additional 2 days, which is Saturday and Sunday, and effective on Monday, all of the requirements that were stated in the previous clip by the Honorable Prime Minister will take into place.
John is advising frontline workers to make the right choice in this situation.
You are fully vaccinated, you're a frontline worker right now, and you have not submitted your record. Ideally, it is still recorded that you're unvaccinated. And I know some persons are saying that, well, I got my vaccine and it's nobody's business. In this particular phase, you really need to submit your information, not for persons to have your personal information, but there needs to be a record log that you are fully vaccinated. And so if you fail to do that, then you are still classified as unvaccinated, and all of those mandates that was mentioned before about abandoning your post, etc., will apply to you. So I'm asking persons to think very clearly about what you have decided to do. And once you've decided to do that, you understand that there are also benefits and consequences to your specific action. We do have our vaccination sites available still across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Our vaccination team, which is on the right now, they're really working overtime, overdrive, to ensure that persons have access, availability to the vaccine.
And to show their displeasure with the government's vaccination policy, a number of affected workers took to the picket line today. Outside the customs building, a few custom officers carrying placards in hand say they are totally against mandatory vaccination, and the government's policy for all frontline workers to get vaccinated is no different. Speaking to our news team on behalf of his colleagues, this custom officer asks, where is the concern for the mental health and well-being of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines? He said because of fear, some of his colleagues took the job against their will.
Taking this job against their will. Every day they seem troubled. They're there like they're out of this world because their minds are so troubled. Forced to take something that is against their will. Yet, for the sake of a bread on the table, for the sake of a livelihood, they are going ahead and taking it because they say, well, what else can I do? I don't have nothing else to fall back on. And I have to take it. I don't want to. It's against my will. I don't want to, but yet they are going ahead and take it. So we are standing to say that, God has given us the right to choose. And yet, even when we have not chosen to serve Him, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. So I personally, and I know many of us, have seen this as a time of evil rising up against the people. Because if a government says that it loves the people, why would you force people against their will?
The defiant custom officer says he and his colleagues on the picket line today will not bow to any pressure to take the jab.
That piece of regulation does not speak to such a situation. Abandonment of post means that without permission, without any leave or informing your superiors, and just leaving your job unattended for 10 consecutive days, then you would have abandoned your job. But in this situation, I can't see where we would have abandoned our jobs. So we are taking a stand today, making a statement, because we are against the coercing of our people at the expense of our jobs, so that if we don't take this drug, this experimental drug, then we are without a job. And you know, even through the times of the souffre and this so-called pandemic, the customs have been commended for doing a great job. Our revenue has been in good state, and I don't see the crisis in our country why our government is forcing the people to take this vaccine.
Custom brokers and other port workers who are on the picket line today also share their views on the vaccination policy.
Custom broker in solidarity with what's going on here, yeah? And one of my main issues is that why this health thing so political? Why is not the health department pushing it? And within a late, nobody talking about washing your hand, keep a distance and the thing. All they're trying to reach a figure with the job. So I want to know why is it behind it. You understand?
$300 million.
So this thing is a hoax, and it's sad that they're trying to push people out of a livelihood for the sake of the job, and that's just my concern.
The great threat about your job just because of not taking a vaccine, that I see is something that is really out of line. I mean, we had this COVID breaking out in about 2 years now, and we had people coming in where they claim that is imported cases. Now, why was there never anything that was say there was a mandatory quarantine system in place? People were left to roam the places, spread the disease, and now to the end of the line, we are just forced with this thing. I am not against the vaccine, but I'm against the mandatory part of it where my job is being threatened for my choice.
Industrial Relations Officer of the Public Service Union, the PSU, Joel Poyer, stood in solidarity today with the custom officers, claiming that the government's vaccination policy is a discriminatory act against the workers of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Poyer said that frontline workers should be recognized and awarded for their hard work throughout the pandemic rather than being pressured to take the COVID-19 vaccines.
That has been passed on to the public. And I'm telling you this, today the workers and them at custom, but it's going to be the whole nation, because you notice what this man is saying. He wants 90% of the population. So then don't be surprised if tomorrow your employer telling you that you have to go and get the vaccination. Because the man is not stopping. Right now he's playing a numbers game and he is getting pushed back. He has divided the Christian community. Imagine a coalition that march against same-sex marriage comes out against the mandatory vaccination for your job.
Wow.
And what he did? He divide and rule. The Power organization and the leader of the Adventist organization abandoned the position with the coalition and went and have a discussion with the Prime Minister. He called him.
Meanwhile, in a telephone interview with SVG-TV News, President of the PSU, Elroy Boucher, said the government should reconsider putting workers' income and jobs on the line by cancelling its vaccination policy.
The union, the public service union, continues to say this mandate is basically immoral and downright evil. You should not have to tell persons, you shouldn't be in a position as a government to put a person who have been working for 30 plus years, 20 something plus years, put their job on the line because you are mandating a medical treatment. That is a freedom. Persons supposed to be free to take whatever they want in their body, whatever treatment they want. Government has not done that, but has told workers, basically based on the law, you either will be charged of misconduct if you are not vaccinated and enter the compound, or else if you are away from the job for 10 days, you have abandoned your job. That is not right, And I don't know what sort of stuff can get into a person's mind as a government that you'll put workers who are no threat to their co-workers, because many workers have been working, have never caught COVID over the 2-year period.
According to Boucher, vaccination is not the only way to protect workers from COVID-19, noting that there are instances in different countries where persons now have to take a 4th shot.
The surest way of protecting the workplace is for workers to be tested. That's the surest way. Because you know when you're coming on the job, you are negative. Being vaccinated does not tell you that you are negative. It does not. So this draconian measure that the government has, it's, they really should bring it to a halt and use some other means, whether encouragement or otherwise, in addressing workers. No government should be putting the livelihood of workers on the line. Workers who have toiled tirelessly for years, immigration officers, customs officers, teachers, workers within the general public service. They should not be made to...
The PSU president urged public servants who will not take the vaccines not to stay away from their jobs. Boucher said whatever actions the government take against them, they should always record, because the PSU's legal team is prepared to fight for them in court.
I know many public servants are not going to comply with the mandate. Our advice to them: go to work. Let them put you out of the compound. Let them give you a letter. Let them charge you. Then the lawyers will have to deal with that. But do not stay away from the job.
We stand with our members, and once you touch one of them and push them off the job, all we are asking them to take the necessary evidence and bring it to the union. We're going to go to the High Court with it. Because, listen to this, and this is very important. These workers have been working from day one with COVID. They didn't have the necessary protection.
And staff of the SVG Community College held their own protest action today, not only against the government's vaccination policy, but also for a pension plan and other issues they say need to be addressed.
Climax, when the vaccine mandate was being implemented, when that SRNO was passed, and we saw how the college was so enthusiastic to comply with that piece of legislation, while at the same time, for 14 years, they have not brought to fruition their legal obligation, which was to put a pension plan in place for the employees. So the staff is aggrieved about it. It is upsetting. People have been working here for 11 plus years, and if they leave, they have nothing to work with. And in addition to that, there's no provision for severance for persons who may be unvaccinated at this point and who will have to leave the college.
The issue at hand, and it's about vaccine mandates, first of all. And I personally feel that it doesn't support us. Okay? As human beings, we have the right to determine what our bodies.
Go to the vaccine. It is wrong, and to threaten their jobs, absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Right? So here it's not just mandatory vaccination we're fighting against. We are fighting for our pension.
Other members of the public, including from the group Rise Hairuna, were also on the picket line today, standing in support of frontline workers who they say are being forced to get vaccinated.
You can't just put some draconian measures on citizens. Then you're putting citizens into a poverty-stricken state. You're putting citizens into a state of depression. you're putting citizens to be involved, because the ripple effect of this is going to play out, you know. You understand, and then we should not be facing such a thing. This is our body, and we have to know what we have to put in. People have to make the right choice.
Because the Service Commission regulations do not stand for that. There are certain rules and so forth in the Service Commission regulations that dictate when you can be on suspension, when you can be, you know, when you can get disciplined and all of that. There are things in place already for those. So the whole wall should rise up against this thing. The whole wall. Don't give in. We need to rise up against this, my brethren, because this is wrong. Nobody is supposed to come and predict if it should go up or if it should go down. Who is them for do that?
Meanwhile, at a handing over ceremony on Thursday of 2 field hospitals from the U.S. government at the decommissioned E.T. Joshua Airport tarmac, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said the Ministry of Health is currently seeing a solid uptake in the country's vaccination program.
No longer a mere trickle, not yet a flood. But you don't have to do it as a flood, get it as a flood, if you use a number of nuanced measures. And as the evangelicals say, day by day, sweet Jesus.
Expressing gratitude for the Pfizer vaccines donated by the U.S. government to assist in the local fight against COVID-19, PM Gonsalves said over 25,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine have been administered here thus far, and the country will need more soon.
So that in the Pfizer, as I indicated to Ambassador Tagliatella, we have administered over 25,000. So we have just about 10,000 CMO. We have about 10,000. And those would be quickly consumed in the next few days. And I don't want to be in a situation where I don't have anything else. We have some Sputnik. But as you know, the US hasn't recognized the Sputnik for entry. For a particular reason, with the WHO.
Prime Minister also noted that with the absence of the AstraZeneca vaccine locally, the government has received an offer for 11,000 doses from Argentina.
So we gave away over 40,000 doses of AstraZeneca because the expiry dates were coming and we needed to make sure that other people use them. So we very much need the next tranche with some urgency, because a lot of the workers are taking first doses, and you don't want to be in a situation that we don't have the second doses. And the Pfizer has become quite popular.
SVG will join countries in the region in celebrating Tourism Awareness Week from November 21st to the 28th under the theme Caribbean Comeback. Caribbean Comeback is an original initiative by the Caribbean Tourism Authority, where all stakeholders are pushing to have more visitors come to the region, which is trying to regain its prominence in the tourism industry from the devastating effect of the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking on a recent program on VC3, SVG's Minister of Tourism, Carlos James, said the numbers show an increase in travel and tourism internationally, and SVG is doing its part to impact the Caribbean Comeback movement.
Comeback is really an initiative that is working and that is out there. We're doing our part in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So starting from next Monday, we start with a virtual day of prayer, a tourism virtual day of prayer. Then there's a tourism career talk on the Tuesday. The Wednesday, Faces of Tourism, is a virtual highlights of a crisis management training for middle management stakeholders. Then there's a hike to the Vermont Nature Trail on Wednesday, as well as a virtual tourism panel discussion on the 25th, which is the Thursday And the Friday, Vinci Tourism Day, it's been dubbed. It's a national event which we're encouraging persons to dress like a tourist, decorate their spaces and so on, as if they're promoting the very aspect of our islands. The Monday the 29th is a digital marketing training for entrepreneurs within the tourism and hospitality industry. And on Tuesday, we end by announcing the competition winner for our vlog competition, which will essentially run over the period of November, where we are asking persons to share something on their social media about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, share something that is tourism related, and enter a chance to win prizes on behalf of the Ministry of Tourism.
Tourism Awareness Week 2021 will kick off this Sunday, November 21st, with a virtual Tourism Day of Prayer. 8 more Vincentians will have the opportunity to pursue university studies in the Republic of China on Taiwan. The announcement was made on the radio this week by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, who said the scholarships were secure through the efforts of SVG's ambassador to Taiwan, Her Excellency Andrea Bowman.
All 4:30 yesterday morning, which was 4:30 in the afternoon in Taiwan, spoke to our ambassador. And she on her own, with a university separate from the 20-odd scholarships which we got last time through the Taiwanese government. She has worked out with a university and with the help of a former ambassador of Taiwan in St. Vincent and Grenadines to get 8 scholarships. But she's coming home sometime next week, I'm told. So, you know, I had to cut short the thing and just exercise prime ministerial authority, you know, and just consult on the phone with people and get the thing done and send it back for her so that she can get it to sign it before she leaves.
Yes.
Now, if you say that each of those scholarships worth 200,000 EC dollars, that's $1.6 million, you know. That's a big gift. It's 8 families, you know, Johnny P.
Yes.
And if they're in poverty, they're lifted out. Them things warm my heart.
Hundreds of Vincentians have benefited over the years from scholarships to study in Taiwan. The Cable and Wireless Charitable Foundation earlier this week handed over 75 tablets to the Ministry of Education to be donated to students in the red and orange zones who had their device damaged or destroyed by the eruption of La Soufrière volcano. The donation of the tablets forms part of the company's annual Mission Week, and it is the hope that the tablets will help the children stay connected with their online classes. The Minister of Education, Curtis King, who was present at the handing over ceremony, said the donation is a welcome one, as students in the red and orange zones who were severely affected by the April volcanic eruption are on their way back to some level of normalcy. Minister King also noted that the education system has been affected by different factors, with the mode of education changing. Hence, the ministry has to think outside of the box to continue to provide quality education to the nation's children.
Thinking outside of the box. We always have to be flexible in our approach. And in this new landscape, the issue of internet connection, the issue of devices are very important. Why? Because today we cannot think about the continuity of education without referring to the format or the mode of instruction. And instruction at our educational institutions, instructions are provided via different modes. And a very popular one in this period is the online or virtual mode. In order to access instructions via online or the virtual mode, there must be internet connection, and there must be a device that would allow you access. And so what Cable and Wireless St. Vincent and the Grenadines is doing here this morning is indeed magnanimous, and it is welcome and appreciated by the Ministry of Education.
Minister King also appealed to parents and the students who will be receiving the tablets to take care of them.
At a cost. It is therefore important that we remind parents, guardians, students alike that you have to take care of these devices. And I want to reiterate it at this activity because the Cable and Wireless Invention Limited, as a corporate citizen, is making a very magnanimous gesture here. And they too will like to be assured that those receiving these devices will take care of them and that they would be used for the purpose for which they are designed.
In some police news now, an investigation has been launched into a report of arson made by a 70-year-old contractor of Fountain. The police say, according to information provided, some unknown person or persons without a lawful excuse destroy motor vehicle P3540, a blue Mitsubishi Jeep valued at $5,000 by setting it on fire. The incident occurred in Fountain on November 18th. Persons with information that can assist with this investigation are asked to contact the Deputy Commissioner at telephone number 45-12467 or the officer in charge of the South Central Division at 45-84200 or any police station or police officer you are comfortable with. The police say all information received will be treated confidentially. In another matter, Jolani James, a 28-year-old farmer of South Rivers, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of wounding as a result of an incident that occurred at South Rivers on November 5, 2021. The police say investigations carried out revealed that the accused allegedly, unlawfully and maliciously wounded a 54-year-old farmer of the same address by shooting him to the back of his head with a homemade fish gun. The accused appeared before the Kingston Magistrate Court on Thursday, November 18th, to answer to the charges and pleaded not guilty. Bail was denied and the matters were adjourned to Monday, November 22nd to be heard at the Connery Magistrate Court.